morning, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the last things as far as Illustrator goes. This will be the last lecture for Illustrator. Next week I am going to be starting on Photoshop. So what I'm going to be dealing with today is going to be showing you some of the odds and ends that I didn't cover within Illustrator to figure out what what additional things you can do within it. So I talked a little bit about like fonts last time with the the one exercise that we had going. So with that, it's like I have the text tool. When you're dealing with Illustrator and you're going to your text tool, you can go over here and there are two ways of putting in text within Illustrator. One is just to click. So when you click, you get this Greek lettering going on here. And that is going to allow you to, as an indicator that you can go ahead and type in your words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in my words here, use my name for it. And I'm going to go over next to, right down on the right side, you're going to see that there's a character palette. If you do not have that, you can go under Window, type character. So the character palette will allow you to kind of like choose your font that you're going to be utilizing. So if I go here, you'll see that I have different fonts compared to what you guys have. I have like over 2,000 some fonts. So I'm going to choose one that I'm pretty sure you all have, and that's going to be Arial. So if I go to Arial and I have black there, I can change Arial. I can also increase the font here if I want to. Now, with some of the things that are interesting within this particular set is that you have these, and there are some settings here that I'm not really going to talk about much until we get to InDesign, because that is the powerhouse when it deals with fonts. But you can try some of them out, such as leading and kerning and tracking. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, you will by the end of the semester. All right, so I have my my last name here, and what I want to do is I want to be able to use what is called an arc. All right, I want to make the letters look like they are part of like they're arcing or a type of distortion that's going on with it. Illustrator has the capability of doing that and is actually really, really powerful. So I'm going to go to my black arrow, make sure that that's selected. I'm going to go up to where it says Effect, up here in the top. If I go to Effect, you're going to see that there are a number of different options, and I encourage you to kind of play around with them. But if you go to where it says Warp, and there's an option called Arc, if you see these three dots, that means that there's going to be a dialog box that's going to be popping up. All right, which means that there is more to it. It's just not going to place a distortion there and then not allow you to change it. If I hit Arc, you get what is called the Warp options. And in here, you got a style, which right now we set it as Arc. But here is where it says Bend. Right now it's set at 50%. If I change this down, you can see that, well, with mine, it's being really, really slow right now. Alright. My computer's not acting very well right now. So if I go to Warp Arc, you should be able to see it. You should be able to see it on your end. For some reason, mine is not showing that way. Might be like a glitch within my program. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's interesting. There it is. I think I have a little glitch within my computers being really slow lately. So you kind of see that here it creates that bend. Change that. A horizontal, if I change that, you'll see it's more weighted here and less over on that side. Reverse, vertical, like so. So you can play around with that a lot. All right. Now you can choose different ones if you want. There's arch. Change these to 0 just so you guys can see what it does. Bulge. Flag. Fish. Rise. Anything in there is really going to be very interesting or very useful for you. There's been many times where I've had to use this type of warp option to do interesting things. So make sure that you check it out. So I'm going to hit OK and apply that. Now, in order to actually work with it, since there is, like what we did last time, we had the creating outlines and creating each item as its own little graphic. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to do kind of the same thing. So I'm going to go up to type, create outlines. Now what that did was it made its shape, but you can see that the outline of a previous one is there. We don't want that. In order to get it to its arc format, or what we have is here is rise, we have to do one other step. If you go up to object, expand appearance, that option will actually take that from its original format to now going to this format here. So if I hit expand appearance, you are no longer at its original just straight horizontal. You are now at a rise graphic. All right. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit with that. All right, so we're moving on to some other things. So if I go to my pen tool and I draw just a simple line. It's not a closed shape, it's just a simple line. I'm going to go with my black arrow so that I can see that that is just a simple line. I'm going to hit this double arrow, which is going to reverse both fill and stroke on this particular object. And I'm going to increase its size. Now, up to this point, the stroke has been very, very uniform. It's the same width all the way throughout the line. But what I want to do is I want to variate it, which means that I want it to be thicker on one end and thinner on another. Illustrator has the option of doing that, and it's very, very simple. It is a tool over here on the left side called the width tool. If I choose that, and I go to my line, you see that if I move it along the line, you'll get a plus sign in the cursor. If I go ahead and click, hold, drag away from the line, you'll see that it's getting thicker. If I go to other points on this line, and I start pulling it away, you'll see that it starts out very thin, and then it can get thicker there. Or come here, make it thicker there. So you can variate the size of the stroke. Now it does only work with stroke, not a fill. So you can vary different sizes there. If you want this to be a shape that you can work with, where it's outlined around it, you have to do a couple steps first. You have to go to Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And what that does is it turns it from a stroke into a fill. And at this point, you can actually start using it or modifying it however you see fit. So you can start pulling away from that and molding it into the shape that you want it to be. Alright, pretty simple stuff there. Alright, now another option is in a sense, like when I first mentioned about Illustrator being a great program to create logos in, logos often come with what we call identity packages. Identity packages refer to like a letterhead, an envelope, a business card per se. And those particular options you can do all within Illustrator. They are 3 different sizes, but you can do them all in one file. So like if I were to create, let's say, a logo. All right. And I'm going to be very, very, very creative with this particular logo. It's going to be the best thing I've ever created in my entire life. So I'm going to type create outlines. There it is. There it is. Best logo I've ever made. You go object and group, and then I can utilize it. So the purpose of a letterhead is where you can have companies would actually use letterhead to put invoices on, letters that they need to send out to clients, bank statements, anything like that can be used with this logo or these letterheads. So oftentimes the designs are usually up at the very top or at the bottom or along the side, as long as the middle is utilized for whatever goes in there. It's not something you're not going to create a design that's going to fill up the page. It doesn't work like that with a letterhead. So now the question remains is like, how do I place an envelope, which is one size, and a business card, which is another size, on the same file? That is what is called artboards. You used artboards when we were doing that expressive or word project. You had 4 artboards, 6 by 6. So each artboard can be different sizes. And there is an artboard tool in the toolbox. Off to the left, if you go all the way down, you're going to see this little, looks like a page kind of turned to a side with 2 lines in the corners. If I click on that, you're going to see that here the artboard is kind of like showing up a little bit different. It has handles now that I didn't have before. So if I choose that and I just go ahead and click hold drag, you can see I can create another artboard. But the artboard is not exactly the width I want it to be. Over here on the right, you're going to see where it says width and height. Width for an envelope is 9.5. Actually, no, it is 9. Sorry, I had a brief moment of delusion there. All right, and the height is 4.125. All right. So what it has there is width of 9 inches by height of 4 1/8. That is the actual letterhead. I'm sorry, the envelope. So I can move that off to the side. Now I can go ahead and draw another one, which is a business card, which is usually 3.5 by 2. And that there is a business card. So you can create the whole entire letterhead package right in Illustrator by using 3 different sized artboards. And when you export them out as a PDF, that PDF will have 3 pages. Each page will be a different size. So it's a very useful tool when you're dealing with having to create different size pages within Illustrator. Particularly corporate letterhead packages is the best use for all of those. All right. So there's not really much else that I want to show you within Illustrator because, I'm just trying to get you guys used to the basics. All right. There are a lot of advanced features which you'll probably cover in future classes. And, I'm just trying to get you guys started in that. So, all right. So I'm going to sign off here. And see you next time.